And I was in the Seine River and I saw a reproduction, a very inexpensive reproduction of his painting, The Sunflowers. I was just so drawn to it and I bought it. And I was on the way to the United States and I traveled through Europe for a month, really hanging on to that painting because that's how I loved his painting. My philosophy about being an artist is that art doesn't just start with a painting nor a sculpture. Art is an expression of anything that is from your heart. So you could use any medium. So I am a palette knife artist and I use oil. I'm pretty much like a Van Gogh painter. I never really planned to be that, but I just evolved to be that. And I've always liked the palette knife. And I've always been the type that I just have a thought and I just go ahead and do it. So right now, through sheer passion, which started with a dream, I am now showing my art pretty much around the world. I show mostly in Europe. I have shown in the United States before, New York, Miami, Los Angeles, but now mostly in Europe. So I am at El Rastro, which is the biggest flea market in the world. Very artsy, very artsy. I've been in Madrid now for 4 days and I'm doing my Unstoppable in Spain docu-series. So I've been around looking for a spot to talk about these 4 iconic artists. And the first one I want to talk about is Van Gogh. I've been looking for a spot, but I couldn't find a spot. It could be in a cafe, but it's loud in a cafe. So right here at El Rastro, I find this big wall of mural. The street is just so Europe. And why do I choose this mural? I know Van Gogh paints sunflowers, beautiful sunflowers. But as an artist, I know what it's like to feel as an artist. Even if you paint beauty, that beauty comes from somewhere dark. And this wall is a mural of, it was once a beautiful mural, but there's some graffiti. So, I don't know what was going on in that person who put the graffiti on, but I feel that in the modern days, it is something that probably Van Gogh would like. So, I'd like to talk about him. So, Van Gogh, as we all know, is the most revered, the most iconic, and probably in the history of art, the most productive of all the iconic artists. He is Dutch, and he actually started not as an artist, and he started late as an artist. And from what I've read, he wasn't born talented like Picasso is a natural. He actually had to work so hard to be the artist that he was. And in his whole lifetime, he never even earned worth $1. So he had a job before that was really mundane. And I think he was even very neat. But at a certain point in his life, he decided that he wants to be an artist. And his brother, who probably loves him with all his heart, Theo, supported him for the rest of his artist life. So as we very well know, a lot has been talked about his very disturbed mental state. And as an artist myself, a long time ago, I had a painting, and an observer who was looking at my art said that when you painted this, you were probably sad. So I realized that a lot of people later on, and hopefully I will get to that stage, when you'll be famous, which is my intention, hopefully still alive, but you pass or whatever, people just surmise and analyze what you were, how you were as an artist at that time. So a lot of people talk about his mental state and really don't know for sure. This is not really clearly chronicled, I'm sure. Nobody was following him around like my cameraman Adolfo is following me right now. So we don't know. But he did have a very unstable mental state. Some people say he was like that because he chewed on his brush and paint at that time was made of lead. and lead can actually kill you. So I guess they think that in his state, it made him insane. So why do I talk about Van Gogh? Why? I talk about him because I'm definitely not a Van Gogh, no close to a Van Gogh, but I do paint like him. He paints with a brush. He doesn't paint with a palette knife, but I paint with the same intensity and color as he does. And I just evolved to be that way. A long time ago, I was traveling, I was very young, from the Philippines to Europe. And I was in the Seine River and I saw a reproduction, a very inexpensive reproduction of his painting, The Sunflowers. I was just so drawn to it and I bought it. And I was on the way to the United States and I traveled through Europe for a month, really hanging on to that painting because that's how I loved his painting. I never knew at that time, of course I was very young, although I already knew how to draw and things like that, that I would be the artist that I am now, really practicing the art. I carried that with me all through Europe for the 1 month. I carried that with me as a young immigrant in the US. And it stayed with me from one apartment to another apartment as a young immigrant and to now a house and a bigger house. At a certain point though, I had to let it go. But that's the kind of effect that Van Gogh has on me. And I'm sure other artists out there had some inspiration to them. And I would say that he is such an inspiration, iconic figure to me, and I am where I am now, and I paint the way I paint now because of Van Gogh, and that's the reason why I chose to talk about him first. I am a fine artist. I paint using oil, using a palette knife stroke. I am self-taught, well, not exactly entirely self-taught, and privately trained by my mentor. I paint oil, wet on wet, using the palette knife. My style is almost like a Van Gogh. I did not copy, mind you. I just was inspired by him and is still inspired by him and evolved to be that without even trying hard. Now, if you are the kind of artist who is bold, who has a dream, who is who's just unstoppable, I guess I am like that. And if you have a dream bigger than yourself, you will find a way. And this is what I have been doing.
My shrimp, I put in the paella, usually cooks about 20 minutes.
The whole thing?
The whole thing in 20
Exactly.
minutes. But I add my seafood in the last 10 minutes of cooking. But I always like to give my shrimp a little bit of a quick stir fry so that it has a nice flavor to it. Okay?
Probably nice.
So I do this first and then I take it out and I add it at the top.